large transplant program. It's very important to our transplant providers that we capture this data in discrete formats. Because of the fact that we see patients from all over the world, we know that the patients aren't there on site to have their labs performed in our internal labs. More often, the patients are having that lab work performed all over the nation, and those results are being sent into our transplant departments. Because of the fact that they need this discrete format, they need it for reasons such as being able to track and trend the data. It's important for them to be able to understand the patient's care and how the patient's doing over time. Our providers expect a quick turnaround time of these results, and we found that scanning documents and getting that sort of turnaround takes a little bit longer than finding a better process to be able to get the data in and sent out to the providers in basket. The transplant staff had to sort through a variety of documentation that was sent to UW. It wasn't just lab work. Some other examples that came into the transplant department included other radiology results, procedural results, prescription refills, consent forms, you name it. Part of their workflow was to have to sort through all the paperwork, pull out the lab results, and then use that paper to enter into the EMR. Staff were beginning to realize that they needed a different process in order to keep up with the volume. Because of a lot of the results were entered manually, there's a higher incidence of error rates. And while staff don't like to make errors, when you're manually transcribing, there's a greater chance of it. And so we wanted to try to find a way to prevent that. Transplant really wanted to find a more automated solution. The solution was implemented a couple of years ago, and we found that staff were able to enter in tests much more quickly and more of them per hour. So ultimately, this did result in a decreased turnaround time of results, which was very important, and also allowed for staff to be able to enter in more results over time. Tests were being entered 80% faster, and improvements are still being made. The backlog was smaller, and what was very important to them was that the test results were into the EMR much more quickly, especially for high-priority patients, to be able to get those results in within an hour. What's nice to say is within the first month, we were able to set a plan to be able to implement for other sites.